Hello, I'm Janna, and happy Halloween. We are coming to the close of our Halloween extravaganza. Thank you so much for joining me for all of the spooky fun creativity. So today we're going to be finishing up our haunted library project. We're going to be turning this library into a vignette, and the most challenging piece yet is starting today. We need to build a spiral staircase and install all of the parts and pieces. If you'd like to see exactly which supplies we're going to be using, go ahead and pause here. All right, let's head over to the Crafty Corner. For the next stage of the library build, we are going to be creating a spiral staircase. This is going to be quite the challenge. So the initial plan is that we're going to be taking some 14 gauge wire and some Etcetera pieces and use them in combination to make the spiral staircase. And of course, we're going to need quite a bit of hot glue. So let's go ahead and change that camera angle just a bit, and we're going to try to figure out the best way to tackle the staircase. Now, initially, I'm thinking that I want to use the thick wire kind of as a guide to give us the spiral look. But the question is, how are we going to be attaching all the steps? My initial thought would be super glue. That should be very sturdy and give us a good foundation. All right, so for the spiral, I'm taking the distress sprayer and I'm coiling the wire around this about 5 to 6 times. And in theory, that should give us enough curl so that we can make an elegant staircase. Now, off to the side, I do have my jewelry wire cutters, and I'm going to need that to split this wire. It is pretty thick. All right, so we've got a pretty decent spiral here, and I'm just kind of stretching it to get a rough measurement to see if this is going to be tall enough. I really can't tell right now just because this is completely brand new to me and I've never built anything like this before. So I am completely guesstimating at the moment. All right, so looks good. We have snipped and now we need to figure out stability. Stability is going to be the next challenge. Like, where are we going to anchor this? How is it going to be anchored? And how is this going to be in proportion to the rest of the vignette? I have absolutely no idea. What I do know is that I'm going to need to bend the wire to give myself spots where I can attach the Etcetera pieces that are going to be acting as steps. So right now, kind of pondering about placement, but I'm also thinking that I might want a center support pillar. This would give me more to attach to and more to build on. Also, we are definitely going to need to build this ledge out further. I do not have enough space to really anchor the staircase right now. So if we use some of these Etcetera trim pieces, we can extend our ledge. And it looks like I'm going to need to double up on the trim because of the thickness of the vignette. But not a problem. We've got plenty of trim. We can double up and use hot glue to extend our base. Then we'll be able to camouflage the base using more of the background paper. So this is going to be an easy modification. All right, now I'm just going to snip these pieces to make sure that everything's going to fit. And I'll start making sandwiches after that of the Etcetera ledges. So just taking the tonic snips, making the cut, and we've now got the right pieces to extend that bottom section. Okay, now for the hot glue. So again, of course, we have to be using our Sure Bonder, my favorite glue gun for project building. So we've run a generous amount of glue along the edge, and we're just snugging that right up to the base of the vignette to make our extension. For our second piece, we're running some glue right along the base, and then smushing that in. Very good. And let's get those last two little pieces. And then we can see about camouflaging those edges. So more glue, a little bit on the edge, a little bit on the base. Just want to make sure that our pieces don't wander off on us. Okay, it's a good fit. And the last one, a bit more on the edge, on the side, and on the base. There we go. So just making sure that everything is secure, and I can see that I'm going to have lots of glue strands to get rid of later. Now I'll just bring in the extra piece of paper that I had set aside, and we can glue that right onto the base. So just doing a quick measure. That is going to work out very nicely. And we'll just trim that down to size. Perfect. That's going to blend in seamlessly. And I just need to take a little bit off the side. So just doing a little bit of rough measurement, a little bit of folding to use as a guideline, and we'll go ahead and trim that down. Now let's grab the collage medium and add that extra piece of paper. So just spreading on a thin layer, and then we can lay that piece of paper down. All right, it's fitting very nicely. Okay, so just need to smooth things down just a little bit, and we can continue with the build. All right. Now we're going to be building a central support. I've cut 2 more pieces of wire at about 13 inches each, and we're going to be twisting these together to create a central support pillar. And this should give me some more places to attach my steps and give me some more solid anchor points. So we're just going to take the 2 pieces of wire and we're going to twist them together to form one piece. And we'll just carefully work our way down. We'll just twist and make sure that everything is nice and solid. All right, looks like we're about halfway done. A little bit more twisting, and again, this is the 14 gauge wire that we're using for our main support pieces. A few more twists and we should be good. Okay, that's looking nice and solid. Let's see about placement. So I'm thinking if this gets placed kind of near the center of that little side piece, then I'll be able to anchor that and then bring in the coil to start building the steps. So this is what I'm picturing. I want that piece to go right through the middle of the coil, and that should be our foundation for the spiral staircase in the library. So looking at the elements that we have right now, I'm noticing that I don't have enough space to glue down the Etcetera pieces to the spiral. So I'm thinking that I'm going to be bringing in a smaller gauge wire at about a 14 gauge to create bars or rungs that are going to give me spaces to glue the Etcetera pieces to. And hopefully that will add some more structural stability to this. So the plan right now is we're going to stick everything on fast forward and see where we end up. after a lot of trial and error, we have the framework of our staircase. That took a lot of effort. So now it's time to work on the installation of that staircase. So let's zoom out just a little bit so we can see what we're doing. Okay. So right now the plan is to use some hot glue so that we can get the staircase installed. Okay. So we'll put a good portion of hot glue at the base. Okay. And now we'll add some at the top. Not a whole lot because that's going to take a little bit of time to stick. Main thing is to get the base. I can probably hide the mess at the base with some other things, but right now I just want this to stay in place and not move. That would be my one goal. Okay. So that is there. I'm going to try to carefully add a little bit of hot glue up here. That's going to be a bit more challenging. Okay, so we've got that. All right, I've got a ton of glue strands going on here, so I'm going to carefully try to pull those away. And I'm also going to put something in the background because I'm having trouble seeing out of the camera. I'm just going to sneak up paper behind here so that I've got a little bit less background noise. Okay, there we go. So that is pretty much setting up. That's the good news. I'm going to need to add a bit more hot glue just to make sure that everything is anchored. Oh boy, this is going to be a lot of hot glue. That's going to be tons of fun trying to disguise that later. Now let's start adding the steps. So the plan is to take some hot glue and set these on each rung, because now we've got a bit more of a framework to work with. Okay, there we go. I think that'll work out quite well. And we'll just slowly work our way up the ladder and we'll see how this goes. The whole thing is that the rung that we added in is going to act as a stabilizer, kind of like a little shelf for each of the steps that we're putting on. Because before, I just did not have enough space for the steps to grab. Okay, so far so good. I am liking that. We're getting our spiral staircase. Yay. So we're going to turn this and I'll keep working up the side, and I'm going to have to move these pieces here and there. Okay, let's go for that next one right here. And I'll just take that and stick it here. Okay, not bad. So there's definitely going to be a lot of finessing. Like right here, I definitely need to add just a little bit of glue to support this rung. Then we'll add more glue so I can put the step in. Okay, good. I just want to push that up just a little bit more. There we go. I think that's about right. And I'll just hold that for a second while that glue sets up. Great. And maybe I can just put a little glue here and lock that in. All right. Oh boy, the glue strands are going to be horrendous, but I have a feeling it's going to be well worth it once we get everything in place. Okay, let's go for this step right here. Then I'll probably need to turn the whole staircase again. Let's take that. Perfect. I am so happy with the way this is coming out. I fought and fought with this staircase. It's not often that my plan A's don't work when it comes to crafting, but today plan A was not having it. So, good thing we had a plan B. And it seems to be working quite well. Getting my cool steps in. So that's good. All right. That's going to go here. And I'll need to turn everything again. Back here. Great. And we'll run our glue along there. Ooh, tight fit. Okay, and we'll stick this one in. Good. Ooh, so much glue ooze. And this is the last step here, and it's not even going to be really a step. I think I'm going to make that into more of a landing. So we'll put the step here, and then I'm going to make a little bridge. And then I'm actually going to snip off the rest of the staircase because we don't need it. I will keep the pillar in place because I like it. But the rest of this can actually go. So I just need to get my tools and I can just snip that, cut here through all those wires and pull that off because we don't need that mess. Okay. Definitely interesting. It was really hard to tell like what pieces I was going to need, how things were going to fit together. This is definitely one of the more complicated architectural builds that I've done in quite a while. So it's been a very unique challenge trying to get all the pieces in place. Okay, still got a lot of wire strands I need to cut through. There we go. And let's get rid of those extra little parts. Don't need all that. It's a mess. Okay, almost there. Good. And this one. Oh, and I can get rid of... Actually, kind of want... yes, I do want that there because I'm going to slip this over that and have that be kind of like the end of the railing. So the last thing I want to do is to add just a little bridge. Oh, I think I've got a wider piece I could use. There's like some great cutoffs that I had. Let's see. Yeah, I can glue that and some of the other little pieces. That'll just be like a little landing. Okay, just like that, and one more. Great. And we'll just turn that over. Add a little bit more glue. Okay, and now I've got myself a landing. Perfect. So what I do want to do is add a little rail between here and there. And I can salvage some of the pieces that I was using earlier. I can just slide things off. Okay, great. So I'm thinking I just want like a little rail right here. It doesn't need to be fancy. Okay, there. That's all I need. Not much, just a little piece, a little curve. All right, so I'll just put a bit of glue here and some glue over here. And we'll just bring that around and let that catch. Cool. Ah, and the glue ooze keeps oozing. It's everywhere. Okay. So I'm going to leave that for the time being. I definitely want to do a bit more with the staircase, but right now let's turn to something a little easier and definitely more fun. We're going to start shelving some books. We've got so many books that need to be put on the bookcase. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do a couple in real time and then I'll put the rest on fast forward as we fill up this library. I am very excited about this part. This is what I've been looking forward to, and then we can get in and do some more decorating and finishing touches because I've definitely got some raw edges. I want to do more to the shelves. The steps, I don't like that color whatsoever, so I'm going to paint them. So let's get our bookshelves and then we can see about some details. Now that all of our books are in place, all 70 plus of them, it is time to work on some finishing touches. Now, I am not liking all the raw edges of the Etcetera pieces, and I'm thinking that I really need to alter them. So I'm thinking we're going to be adding some black paint and brushing that all along the edges and turning the staircase completely black. And of course, we're going to be using some black soot distress paint. So I'm just going to grab a paintbrush and we're going to start altering these just a little bit at a time and work our way all the way around until everything is nicely painted. Now, one thing I'm noticing right away is that the Etcetera pieces are absorbing paint very, very quickly. So I may need to do more than one layer as we're adding the paint on here, but we're just going to go ahead and see what we can do. Also, the paint should help hide some of the glue lines that we have going in a few places. So just going to take that brush and work our way all the way around the vignette. Now let's go ahead and start adding some details. So I've got this open space behind the staircase and I really want to add something here. Something with texture to add a bit of contrast to the rest of the vignette. So I've got these fantastic pieces of mummy cloth that I altered a while ago, and we'll be able to use these to add some texture to this open spot. They're kind of going to be like tattered curtains. And that should look great. They were dyed with Distress Spray Stain Black Soot. So the plan is to set some hot glue up at the top, and then I should be able to take the long strips of cloth and attach them. That should look really good right there. Okay, so just taking that, and we're going to push that right into the glue. Hold it a couple of seconds and it should be good. Okay, we're going to need a second set. We've got these. Now we'll just push that in. So hold it there for a moment while the glue sets. And that will give us another layer to this vignette. Very, very cool. Now the last thing I'm doing is shredding the ends, because the more shredded they are, it's just going to give a grungier, dirtier vibe to the entire thing. And shredded ends kind of remind me of abandoned places. So, all about adding in the little details to make the piece interesting. Okay, so that is looking pretty shredded. We're going to need to turn this around and take a good look at what is going on. Ooh, I do like that. It is looking pretty decent. So I'd say that our work here is done with that piece. So now let's turn our attention to the cauldron. And the cauldron is going to need a little bit of alteration. Very simple. We're just going to take some black soot and start smooshing it into the cauldron to grunge it up just a bit. Because right now it's just a tad too shiny and too new looking. So a bit of black soot will age it up perfectly. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of turn this into a planter. I've got some great bits of moss and lichen that we're going to add to this. So I'm just going to get my hot glue and we're going to run some glue around the edge of the cauldron, just like that. And then we're just going to poke the moss right in, just like that. And then I want that little bit of lichen poking out of the back. There we go. Very, very simple. And now we've got this awesome little planter. That is fun, and it looks nice and spooky with the purple and then kind of the dead stuff here. That's great. Now, we're just going to take some more hot glue, stick that on the bottom of this, and we're going to tuck that right over here. So we've now got a cauldron. Okay, next, let's take the fence piece that we're going to be turning into a railing. No alterations needed with this. This is just going to get hot glued right here, and that will make a great addition for that balcony section. So we're just going to add glue on this side and right down here on the metal. There we go. Don't need to overdo the glue. And we can just stick that right here. Perfect. And I'll just have to hold that a moment or two to give the glue a chance to set up. There we go. So simple way to add some interest to the balcony. All right, I'm loving the way that skull is just kind of poking his head out there. That is really making me happy right now. Okay, so we've got that piece. Now I want to add in one of these drippy candles. So I've got this really neat kind of candle holder, and this is from Conservatory this year. This does not need a whole lot of alteration. All it really needs is just a dash of grunge. So all we're going to do, we're taking some scorched timber, going to scribble just a little bit, and then give it a little spray. And we're just going to move that around with fingers. And there we go. We've darkened that up and made it look a bit more grungy. So we'll just add some glue, and we're just going to stick that right here, kind of off to the side, a little forward. And same thing with the candle. Candle is already great as is, so we're just going to take that and stick it down. Perfect. All right, now I want to think about adding a sentiment. We're going to come back and add some more details, but I want to add this next. And this says peculiar and curious things, and I want that to go right here. I'm also going to be pulling in some hardware heads to decorate this with. But first I want to highlight the word plaque, and we're going to need some distress crayon. This time I'm going to be going with some milled lavender. So I'm just going to take this and we're going to scribble. Ooh, I don't need to do much. Look at that. That already just made things pop. That is perfect. All right, so hot glue, and we'll just add that here. Okay, I'm going to take this and run that right across. Great, I'll put that right here. Cool. Next thing I'm going to do will be to grab some hardware heads. And that's just going to go over those two holes. So we have got some Idea-ology hardware heads, and I'm going to use some of the ones that would go with a Phillips head screwdriver. So all we need is a little bit of hot glue here and here. Let's stick those right on, and I'll add just a nice little touch. All right, it's going to go there. Good. And our second one can go there. All right. Not bad. Now, I'll have to come back later and blast the glue strands. Those are getting everywhere again. All right, next, time for more details. So we've got this open space at the bottom that I'm going to want to do something with. And I had forgotten, but I have a whole stash of potion bottles that I did last year but didn't have a chance to put into a project. So we're going to use these to decorate that base section. Let's go ahead and move the camera down just a bit. So we're just going to take those potion bottles and I'm going to grab some hot glue. This is one of the apothecary bottles. I love the amber colored glass. And I'll just put a dash of hot glue and we'll tuck that right here. There we go. That's a good spot for it. Okay. And now let's get some of those little ones in. All right. This one's got one of those awesome spiders, and I just added a little bit of Nightfall glitter to him. So we'll take that, a little bit of hot glue, and we're going to tuck that right over here. Perfect. I do love those spiders a lot. All right, next we've got this little guy here, and it's got some of the Midnight Distress mica in it. And just a little bit of glue, and we'll stick that right here. And let's see here. I think we'll do that, that, and then that. We have a little poison bottle. I added some colored Epsom salts to this for a little potion. Okay, good. We'll slide that right here. Got little Idea-ology Halloween labels. I like those a lot. They are very fun. And this has some of the black Halloween tinsel. And we'll stick this guy in here. Then we have this little one left, and this is just filled with some sea salt. Okay. Glue, and I'll stick that right here. Great. I love having the little potions down there. That is fun. Next, I have got some ghosts to add, and I also think we're going to be adding a bit more moss. So I kind of want to give this the feel of kind of like an abandoned library, like maybe it hasn't been occupied for a bit. So I've got all sorts of great mossy pieces here that I thought we could glue in. I like the idea of an abandoned library. That's just fun. So I'm just going to take little bits of glue, and then we're just going to stick our moss into that and try to camouflage some of those other areas that have all sorts of glue. Definitely have to go back in a bit and hit this with the heat tool to try to hide all of that glue strand. I like that. I want more around the cauldron. Just do it like that, and then we'll just press the moss right in there. Cool. Let's see, I want some in the back. Okay. I'm gonna have that moss everywhere. Love it. And I think I want some pieces up here. So that I'm actually going to use collage medium for, because I can then put that on the moss and then kind of poke it into those spots. I also want to put some maybe around the skulls and the pumpkins. I don't know yet. But if I put that in there, then I can take my paintbrush handle and just poke that back into a corner. There we go. Just like that. Oh, come on, stay. Stay. Definitely a little bit harder than I thought. Okay, whoop, that came a little bit undone. Just need to re-glue that gate just a little bit. There we go. All right, and let's take more of the moss. There, I'm gonna stick that here. And maybe some of the kind of dead looking moss can go in there as well. Oh, I want to put some around the pumpkin for sure. Okay. Oh, glue strands. Just gonna put a teeny tiny bit right there. And we're gonna poke that in. There. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Cool. And maybe some little bits here and here. The bottom. Can just kind of slide the moss in. There. A little bit of the green stuff. Cool. And I think I want more green stuff up near the top too. Okay. This is coming together. All right. That's good. Again, we'll just poke that. Great. And I want like a little bit more moss around that skull. So we'll take some glue. Good. And I'm just going to poke that right in here. Great. And I kind of want to do something up in this corner. I need more of the moss. Where is it? Okay. Good. Got more of that. Yeah, I think I want just like a little bit kind of dripping down from the corner. That would look really cool. So we'll go in with a bit of hot glue. Just along there, and then I'll stick this right here. Ooh. Yeah, I like that. That is giving us some really fun texture. And I want a little bit of moss along this gate piece. So I'll just take that, put that there. Oh, now I want to do something up near the top. That's with the camera. So I want to do something up here. I think the green moss would be really good. There, I'll take that. Okay. Oh, maybe a little less. Then I can put some on the other side. There we go. There. Oh, I like how it's now kind of obscuring part of the sign. And I want to put some going up on the railing. There, just reloading the glue gun. Let's put some right here. There we go. Ooh, I really like that. That looks neat. Cool. And I've got this piece here. Kind of want to try to twine that in here just for interest. Let's see. There we go. Up and around. Cool. That's actually working out nicely. Okay, just tuck that right here. Great. Yeah, I like having the green just kind of weaving in and out of the stairs. That's neat. Okay, and we'll just weave that around near the base. Perfect. That looks really neat. Okay, that is nice and grungy. It's looking pretty abandoned. So how about some ghosts? I've got this guy. I'm gonna glue him over here. Just kind of popping up. There we go. And then I want this guy. He's gonna kind of fly out of one of the books. Yeah. So we'll just put some glue on the back. Okay. And we're going to just kind of tuck him into a book so he's kind of flying out. There we go. All right. We have the ghosts. Okay, so the last thing for me to do is to hit this with the heat gun, and then we're going to go in for a closer look. All right, let's take a look at our finished haunted library. So here is the finished piece. I've gotten rid of all the glue strands, and we've got quite a bit of detail and things going on. So let's start from the bottom and work our way up. So first of all, we've got some drippy candles. We've got a cauldron that we turned into a planter. We've snuck some skulls into our vast library of 76 books. That is a lot of books to make. Then if we come over here, we have got a whole variety of potion bottles from Apothecary and Idea-ology. And over here we have our spiral staircase. This took a lot of work and engineering, but it was 100% worth it. What is a library without a fantastic spiral staircase? Now, working our way up, we snuck in an Idea-ology pumpkin, more books, and then for the top floor of the library, we were able to include one of the old metal gate pieces, and we have another skull hidden up here. We've got our ghosties flying around, and we were able to add in a metal plaque band, and it says peculiar and curious things. And we've got moss everywhere. So this library has been abandoned for quite some time. I am super happy with the end result. This is our spooky Idea-ology Halloween library. Thank you so much for joining me at the Crafty Corner for the Halloween extravaganza series. It has been so much fun creating all of these videos and having a in-depth play with all things distress in Tim Holtz. Thank you so much for joining me here today at the Crafty Corner. And until next time, happy crafting.